It's great to be here with you as well as Howard and Josh to speak about New Year's Eve preparations. And I think the big message that we want to send as families make a decision about whether to go into the city for the New Year's Eve fireworks is please use public transport, be respectful to one another and have some joy and enjoy yourself. We can't be in a situation where this horrible criminal terrorist event changes the way we live in our beautiful city. We have to show defiance in the face of this terrible crime and say that we're not going to be cowed by this kind of terrorism and we're not going to change the way we live our life in our beautiful city. So police are on high alert. Transport is obviously ramping up. There is a massive logistical exercise with thousands of people, public servants, that are responsible for keeping you safe, to keeping order and ensuring that you can get to and from the city or wherever your vantage point is in a calm way. But we're really asking people to think about having a night out in Sydney. Obviously open your wallets, drive our city businesses. This is a big opportunity for vendors and we want to make it clear that we are not going to be in a situation where the way we live in our beautiful city is substantially altered as a result of the behaviours of these terrorists. That would be a horrible outcome. I don't think Sydney-siders want to live that way, and we can't live that way. And the best way of demonstrating defiance to that kind of ideology, that horrible crime, is to go about living your life the way you would ordinarily do it and get some joy out of New Year's Eve, safe in the knowledge that there are thousands of police officers and a massive, massive government response to this terrorism event. The other point I just wanted to take the opportunity to raise is that the Bondi Hub is obviously closed tomorrow, is my understanding, but it will be open the day after that. And I was reflecting last night, having watched some of the coverage on television of the hundreds of people that were on Bondi Beach at the time. We know first responders, we know families and families of the victims and those that were at the Hanukkah event are at the acute end of the horrible pain they must be feeling right now, and we want to make sure there's help and support for them. But it may well be that you were on the beach that day and weren't directly affected, but saw or were affected by this horrible event. And we want to make it clear that that hub is available for everybody in the community. There will be people in the days and weeks ahead that need help. I know that the human body is very good at deferring processing the kind of events or tragedies that people go through, and there's good reasons for that. You might need to get cover, you might need to act, you might need to protect your family, but it can only defer it, it can't eliminate it. And just making sure people know that there is help available for you at that Bondi Pavilion. We're putting enormous resources into it with counsellors, with medics, with people that can help with legal aid or to get your business back up and running, but we want to make sure that it's filled and we want to make sure people are using it. Now's the time to do that. I want to reiterate that if it's an uncomfortable place for you to return so close to the events, if you send a family or friend down to the hub and let them know that you've got a friend who needs help, we'll send a counsellor out to you. You can meet in a cafe or a restaurant, or we can come to your home, but we want to make sure people know that there's help out there. And with that, we're all happy to take questions.
The difference is that they will be deliberately mingling with crowds rather than sitting in their tactical vehicles.
That's right. They'll be operational and highly visible. And look, there's a distinction between us detailing where and how many and the fact that we're revealing that they will take place. And there's a very good reason for that. It's so the public is aware that there is a change in the protocol. And if they see a heavily armed officer, it doesn't mean that there's an active operation. It means that they're there in preparation for any eventuality.
You mentioned yesterday that this heightened security will exist into the future. Will we be seeing long-armed officers at future events like Sunday's Ashes, for instance?
We'll have more to say about that in the days ahead. But at the moment we're focusing on New Year's Eve, but you can expect more announcements and changes in the next week or so.
Premier, with Kelly Sloan writing to you, requesting you to push the PM for a federal royal commission to anti-Semitism, are you concerned that Commonwealth in Action could threaten the state bipartisanship that you've had since December 14th?
No, I mean, I'm not worried about that. I've got a job to do. My responsibilities are really clear, and I think politics can wait for another day. So we're just rolling out day by day the changes that we believe are necessary for New South Wales. As I said, the highest responsibility that we have is to protect the people of this state, and we're going to do that from the acute level where violence is imminent or it's already taken place, all the way to confronting violent radicalism in our community and racism and anti-Semitism where we see it.
Do you think it's overreach, though? Do you think it's overreach for Kelly Sloan to push you to lobby the Prime Minister? You know, do you think she should find state issues as well?
No, I'm not going to criticise her for that. She's been, and the opposition's been very, very helpful to us in pushing through major changes in New South Wales, which we're grateful for. And she's entitled to a view.
Why won't you ask the Prime Minister to actually start a Royal Commission?
Yeah, look, they've made their decision. I've made our decision. We are going ahead with the Royal Commission in New South Wales. I've also made a decision that I'm not going to get into a long public commentary or yell from the sidelines about this terrorism event. I've got massive responsibilities in New South Wales, and that's got to be my focus. I'm responsible for the New South Wales government, and I'm going to act as I see best for our state.
In Kelly's letter, though, she says you're in a unique position to recommend and influence the Prime Minister's decision on this matter. I mean, don't you think that you are in that position and that therefore you have a responsibility to do that if this is what you believe?
Look, I think my responsibilities are clear, and I'm going to live up to them in New South Wales, and I'm going to make the best decisions for us in this state. But it's, I don't have much more to add other than I'm going to make the changes that I think are important for New South Wales, and they're going to continue. This is not something that's going to be over and done with in 20 days, 30 days. We believe there needs to be fundamental change in New South Wales to combat anti-Semitism, to combat extremism in our community, to call it out when we see it, and to make major changes to public safety in the state. And I can promise you that's a full book on its own.
The Islamophobia register has come out saying it's been a massive spike after Bondi. Just firstly on that, are you concerned that some of the rhetoric following the massacre about pro-Palestinian protesters being hateful or hate speech kind of evolving from those protests to the opposition using stuff like radical Islam or blaming people, or coming out against these being issued to people in Gaza, for example? Is that inflaming some of the tensions with our Muslim community?
Look, I want to make it clear that these are complicated issues and we need to deal with them as we see them. And I said yesterday, and I've said repeatedly, particularly when I went to a mosque the other day with Jewish leaders, that any form of racism, any form of Islamophobia, hatred in our community, we will combat, regardless of your race, regardless of your faith, regardless of your religion. That's got to be a fundamental principle. We also have to talk about these other issues, and I'm going to talk about it in a sober, direct way, but I do believe that they're problems, and I do believe that they need to be confronted, and I'm not going to pull our punches in relation to hate preachers in our community, because I do think that is an essential part of ensuring the community is knitted together in the future. The second point I'd make about that is that the vast majority, and I can't speak for all of them, but the Muslim leaders that I'm either friendly with or are leaders in the community have made it clear they don't want them either. They're prepared to confront them, and they think they need to be called out. So, let's not give an alibi.
That was the New South Wales Premier Chris Minns there, not quite wanting to be drawn on calls from the New South Wales opposition leader Kelly Sloan for him to pressure the Prime Minister to call a federal royal commission in the wake of the Bondi terror attack.